Dr. Fisher, would you share something about your literacy journey?
I think I always was a reader. From my whole life, all I can remember is having books around me. But I think one experience really stood out to me. My fourth grade teacher read aloud a book called The Children's Story by James Clavell. And The Children's Story is an interesting, not so much children's story of this land where the people have been conquered and a teacher was replaced, and the teacher manipulates the students into believing what the teacher believes in about 27 minutes over the course of this short story. And it was this profound experience for me about how much power people could have over other people. And I'd read a lot of books by that time, but that fourth grade experience was really awakening. And I knew I wanted to be a teacher, and I knew and went home and told my mom that I wanted to be a teacher, but that I didn't want to be that kind of teacher who used that power wrongly.
Could you maybe share something that you're currently working on?
I'm spending a lot of time working on text-dependent questions and how to really make sure the questions scaffold students' thinking rather than just check their understanding. And there's a conceptual difference there. Yes, questions, of course, check in with students about what their thinking is about a given text. But I'm thinking about the way that we phrase the questions and the order of the questions and the content of the questions so that we can serve to guide students' thinking without telling them what to think. Nancy and I have been working a lot on these kinds of questions that take students from a fairly literal interpretation of a text to a much more nuanced meaning inside the text without giving it away early and without saying to students, this is what you should think, this is what you should know, this is what you need to know before you read. But using those questions to kind of guide the thinking process and watch how students respond. And I'm very interested in how students take on those questions and start asking each other the questions where the teacher steps out of the way. And I'm most interested in the post-reading tasks that are being developed now, what we call what does the text inspire you to do? I'm interested in kids taking action based on the text they read, and that the whole class doesn't have to do the same task, but maybe some kids are inspired to go research something, and some kids are inspired to write, and some kids want to have a debate. There's just this endless possibility of things that the text that we invite students to look at, read and study and talk about could inspire all kinds of action on the part of our students.
What is that burning topic that keeps you awake at night? Something that we need to reconsider or should be looking at?
I think we need to keep our minds open to different kinds of formative assessment. We've talked about formative assessment for decades. It's been around for a long time. It's just that we don't really do it. We might do benchmarks. We probably all look to the summative assessments, but really actually planning lessons based on the patterns of errors we see in our students, I don't think happens at the level it should. We get very caught up in the high-stakes assessments and working towards them, but we need to be looking at students' work. We need to be analyzing that work. We need to be creating error patterns, error analyses, figuring out what are the trends in my classroom. And I think we have a long way to go before we truly have formative feed-forward assessment delivery systems that inform us about what our students think and how they could be taught next.